This is Majo John Madden in Orizaba, Mexico. As the sign over there says so clearly, it's a magical pueblo, a magical town. One of 30 towns in Mexico so designated. It's way up in the mountains, surrounded by mountains. You can't even see the top of that mountain because there's haze there today. That huge mountain over there is Cerro de something. I'm blocking on the name of it. Cerro de Borrego. And right at the foot of it is the spectacular Alameda Park. This river walk down here is quite spectacular. The Musa bar over here is very lovely. I love spending time there. For the last 2 weeks, I've had to invest so much of my money in trying to keep my car running that I've been really strapped for cash. There are a couple of public bathrooms you can use in this town, one in Parque Alameda, one in the Palace of Government there, Palacio de Gobierno, a spectacular building. Both of those public bathrooms cost 5 pesos. Before a friend sent me some money yesterday, it had been several days since I had 5 pesos. That's like half a cent US. I haven't had that for several days. So it's been really tough to keep my phone charged. Wonderful and magical as this town is, it's not laid out in some ways for poor people. I prefer Mexico over the US in so many ways, even though I desperately love my home country. But there are a lot of parks in the US that have outlets at the bottom of every light post, so anybody can charge their phones. There are 2 public outlets in this town. One in the bathroom over there at Alameda Park. You have to pay 5 pesos to get in. And one day when I had the 5 pesos and got in, the really nice young woman who was working there clearly misunderstood that those outlets, the 2 outlets in the men's bathroom and I bet 2 in the women's bathroom, are for the public. She tried to tell me I couldn't plug my phone into it. And I strongly but civilly said to her, "You're wrong about that, woman. 2 of your other compañeros, your co-workers, have said absolutely you can charge that in. So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take the plug out until you bring your jefe. Bring your supervisor over. He's going to tell you you're wrong." So she never attempted that. The police who man the desk, or a couple of women too, but mostly they're guys, are very customer oriented. I've been charging my battery there. I charged it overnight, and finally my portable battery was up to 100%. This is a very magical town, and I've been stunned by the magic of it, even as I haven't been able to experience it. There are cable cars that run from the top of Cerro del Borrego there down to behind the Palace of Government there. It's one of the great attractions of the town. I watch them every day. I think you can see one coming down right now, but it's dark against the mountain. But it takes 100 pesos, which is about 8 cents American. I haven't had it. I haven't been able to. It's coming down now. It's going to go right behind the Palace of Government. There's 3 that come down and 3 going up at all times. I haven't been able to do that. For 100 pesos, you can get a tour book that gets you into 10 museums around town. 10 museums for 100 pesos, that's a hell of a deal. I haven't had it. Well, finally I have it. I probably will ride that cable car today. It looks spectacular. I will have a beer at my favorite bar right along this wonderful river walk. I've been not able to go to my 2 favorite coffee shops, one at the east end of town over there, Bola de Oro, right outside of the wonderful Castillo Park, and another at the east end, the west end, right across from my car. I haven't been able to go in there, and they don't let you hang out if you're not buying something. So for a week I haven't been able to use either of them, to charge my phone, to use the Wi-Fi. Now I can. So it's a real changing of the guard. I got some money from my friend Lee yesterday, and I should get my big Social Security check today, which never makes it through the month with a car that's falling apart. I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in my 1 year in Mexico in that car. Had to put in a total replacement engine, which cost me thousands of American dollars. So I've been cash strapped. But I also have a plan for augmenting my income. It builds off a plan that's been growing for a couple years. I went into the Palace of Government, to the Office of Culture, and proposed that in that Parque Alameda, where they have a terrific Zumba class every morning that I've been going to, that I would offer ecstatic dancing classes, which is something I know an awful lot about, and also stress management classes, which I did my PhD dissertation on and have taught for 50 years. So it could be a terrific public service, and it's all by propinas, by tips. You have a tip jar. But I think I could bring in some money that way, and also it would be a base for offering my two primary offerings, which are Being with Majo, my variation on counseling after years and years of being a psychotherapist and then a management coach. And when I'm by the water, because my plan has evolved that I'll spend half the year in Veracruz, which is mostly due east of here, down out of the mountains at the shore. Wonderful, wonderful port town. And although I've never been to the Riviera Maya, my one friend in Mexico is out there, and incredible beaches, incredible water, crystal clear water, and the place in Mexico where most has tourists with money in their pocket and time that they could use my coaching offerings. So this vision of offering these two classes, I could do that in Veracruz, where I have actually very good friends already, and I could do it out in the Riviera Maya. So it's a big turning point for me. I feel humbled by it, grateful. The people of Mexico, when you ask them, how are you? They love to respond by saying, muy bien, gracias a Dios. To give the credit to God. They don't miss a chance to say thank you, God. And the Catholics are wonderful. The Catholic Church is pretty stuck on itself, thinking it's the one way. The Pentecostal religions, which really, as far as I can tell, have the momentum in Mexico over the Catholics, are real different. When I say to a Pentecostal, even minister in Mexico, well, I'm not really a Jesus guy necessarily. I love Jesus, and he was my teacher growing up. I was Catholic and in the Catholic seminary for 5 years, studying to be a priest. But I've been deeply influenced by some wonderful Buddhist and Hindu teachers also. So I wouldn't say I'm a Christian. I love Jesus, but he's only one of my teachers. What they'll say back is, so what? Doesn't make any difference. Love God. As long as you love God, doesn't matter what you call yourself. So I like the Pentecostals a lot better, and their services are a lot more fun overall. Less solemn, often dance music, basically. They're like the Holy Rollers. They're like a good black church more than the traditional Catholic Church. So I'm grateful to God, whatever that is. And it's clear to me that God is not a he, not a person. If God was that localized, if God was encased in a person and a gender, how could they be infinite? pretty clearly to me, God is a they, not a guy. A power, a mystery. The Native Americans say the great mystery. And my title in the world these days, I get from the Native Americans, where the greatest compliment you can give somebody is to call them a real human being. And that's my title on my business card for the last couple of years, and I think that's a keeper, because it's all I aspire to be. Gracias a Dios. And grateful to this magical pueblo. I came here to be here for a month. I've now committed to stay as long as it takes to train assistants to take over those 2 classes, which probably will be several months. And part of my plan now to split my time between the Riviera Maya and Veracruz, because Veracruz gives me access. Riviera Maya is way the hell out at the end of the Yucatan Peninsula, kind of cut off unless you're going to fly. But Veracruz gives me access to Mexico City. I'll certainly make it there. And look at the great old Volkswagen bus. Are they like awesome? Volkswagens all over Mexico. There's a big plant in Puebla, just a couple hours from here. Yeah. Grateful to Mexico. So happy to be here. The federal government in Mexico has a slogan saying it's better here. And in so many ways it is, honestly. A stronger democracy. Tough election race coming up. 2 women competing. The 2 primary candidates are women to be the new president after Abraham Manuel Lopez Obrador has to leave in September. The election's July 2. But civil. Nobody's threatening to kill each other's children over political differences, which is rampant in the U.S. The Congress of the U.S. is, I think, 37% women. By law, 50% in Mexico. Congress has to be 50% women. And in this town, which is so loaded with indigenous people, I think this was an indigenous town originally. So many of the mountain towns were. The indigenous influences are being revered after centuries of being oppressed. The federal government understands how much they need the culture and spirit of the natives. So never have there been a place in Mexico where you see so many tiny, dark, indigenous people. And I am touched. I feel God's presence when they walk by me. Okay, talked long enough. Thank you.